Thank you so much, Kate. If you get a chance to chat to Kate during the day, she does some amazing work with young girls who've been trafficked and things like that. And she'd be very happy just to tell you a little bit about what she does and how we might be able to help. So it's not just this beautiful dancing, but some very hands-on, practical work. The sort of thing Pope Francis keeps saying we need to be doing. So thank you, Kate. It's my great pleasure to welcome our speaker this morning. He doesn't need much of an introduction to celebrate regulars, but some of you may amazingly not have sat at the feet of David Wells and listened to him. And so there's a treat in store for all of us. David is the Director of Religious Education in this diocese, so he's in his home patch, in a sense. He's been coming to celebrate for almost since the beginning, I think. I don't think he's missed any. David is here with Alison and with their children, one of whom, Sam, has also been on the release program and is currently on it. And I know from talking to him, he's finding that a great blessing, as we heard this morning. So we're looking forward to hearing you, my dear friend. So David Wells, let's give him a very warm welcome. Inspire this dear brother as he shares with us this morning for our edification and for your glory. Amen.
Thank you. Good morning. Good morning. Excuse me. Good morning. Good morning. Hello. Welcome. And thank you for that. And thank you for the privilege that continues to be being part of this. I hope you're going to enjoy this. This is 45 minutes reflecting on the big theme so that what follows begins to tease it out for us and develop it for us. I've put here, just keep calm and listen to David. I've just put that up as a little reassurance to anybody in the room who's still, as we've heard this morning, just a little bit anxious about what they've come to or what this is. I'm going to try not to be boring. If you can just relax and know that the only person you're going to talk to this morning before coffee is the person sitting next to you. So, in fact, this is rather a good time to move seats if you don't like them. The interesting thing is to ask you to pray for me that I don't nosebleed all over my notes and the lectern. Look, it's an in-joke for people who were here last year, but I did manage to bleed all over my notes. It was remarkable. A few rules of engagement. I just like that. That's just a slight gag. Oh, go on. What are the rules of engagement? Here are the rules of engagement. I'm not speaking for myself. I'm speaking for all those who will follow me. What you have to know is that we have just 6 days to build church. And that's what we're doing here. We're building church. And I'm going to ask you to make a huge leap of faith. And just trust me on this, that the people in the room that you don't know are good people. So, what does that mean? That means a couple of things. It means we can relax here. It's all right. It's all right. And to invite you, in a sense, to understand that we are church and we're going to look after each other. And we're going to do that remarkable thing that come Friday, Saturday morning, you will ask yourself, where did that week go? And one of the reasons it's going to go quickly is that this is truly a privileged environment just to be in. It's a safe place. And so in this keynote, I am going to revisit the events in Esther's story, just briefly. I'm going to explore 3 challenges that Esther might present to us. And I'm going to suggest that they are the challenge to be authentic, the challenge to trust in God's providence, and finally, the challenge to know our purpose. That's what we're going to do in 3/4 of an hour. Is that all right? Yeah, you don't care, do you? Because I'm up here and you're down there. And the only thing you've got to do is just before we begin this seminar is just say good morning to the person next to them and say how beautiful they're looking. Off you go. Talk to each other. Okay. Oh, can I have my screen back, please? I know it'll come back. There we go. Oh, hello again. Okay. So that's the map. That's the map. If I don't get to the end, well, let's try. I just want to revisit some characters that Charles introduced us to yesterday. Here is King Xerxes, Persian king. As Charles suggested to us yesterday, he probably enjoyed being a king more than he enjoyed being a leader. You need to know the difference. He's going to enjoy the spoils. He is, in the course of this story, he's going to enjoy opulence. He's going to spend money. He's not going to worry too much about where it comes from. And so he's going to be unpredictable. Along with him is Vashti, Queen Vashti. She serves the purpose of providing the hole the story will fill. Her role, like so many Shakespeare plays, is to provide the setting for the story. In fact, she's one of 2 women in this story who will risk their lives. Her job in the story is to get out of the way. So although she's a key player in the story, she disappears quite soon. And of course we have Esther, the other woman who will risk her life in this story. And it's important that you know she's an orphan. She's going to be consistent with Joseph and a number of Old Testament characters who have to begin the story at the bottom of the pack. This is her story of rising. And so she begins in a poor place. And of course she has an uncle, Mordecai, who is the wisdom figure in the story. You know him. He features in so many archetypal ancient stories. He's the wisdom whisperer. He will play an essential role in the story, whispering into Esther's ear. And then lastly, we have Haman. And interestingly, he provides the role of the villain of the piece. Now, you have to read this in a context. So I've put up here, there is an archaeological evidence that this took place. But most scholars agree this is not historically accurate. In fact, the timings are a bit all over the place. So don't start reading this book as though it's an eyewitness account. Rather, it's wisdom literature. It's not to be read as an eyewitness account. And that's quite important for us during the course of this conference. And lastly, I've just put there a number of scholars suggest, now this is gorgeous, but I don't know, we haven't got time to do this properly this morning. The genius of the Judaic tradition is that it always puts something in the story to balance the other part. So it provides a certain equilibrium. Jonah does that. You see, because it's possible when you have a book full of prophets to start admiring the prophets and not the message. So the Judaic tradition puts Jonah in there just to say, whoa, be careful. It's not about the prophet. All right, so Jonah becomes almost a comic, tragic figure of a man who didn't want to be a prophet, giving a message he didn't want to hear to a people who didn't want to hear it. Okay? Now, if you're a Jew, you got the joke. It was there to put in a balance. Be careful. Be careful. Don't elevate your speakers, except the ones on the first day. All right. I'm mucking about now. Now, Esther comes into the story like this, and Esther is gorgeous. And I've been reading her since Christmas because we got notification of this and we started studying it and playing with it and exploring it. And it's put into the scriptures to provide a bit of balance. Whoa, be careful. Don't imagine you can plan God. God's not going to work out the way we think it is.